So non-organic is what some people call conventional or regular, because quite frankly, right now, unless something is labeled organic, it probably isn't. So non-organic means that food was grown using synthetic pesticides and artificial or synthetic fertilizers. So, and occasionally sometimes it was also genetically engineered, and it may have been irradiated. So organic means none of that happened, and it also wasn't grown with any toxic sewage sludge. So organic means no synthetic pesticides, no synthetic fertilizers, no irradiation, no sewage sludge, and no GMOs. Okay. So, and then in the case of animal products, it also means no hormones and no artificial hormones or antibiotics were detected in the meat. So that's sort of the high level. And why does that matter? Well, pesticides, there are hundreds of them in the food supply. They've been tested in isolation, and there's usually this thought that we can handle a certain amount of these different pesticides without getting cancer or dying. But the thing is, it's impossible to test them in combination. So when your body is on the receiving end of hundreds of different pesticides, how do we know what they do in interaction together? But we know that a lot of these pesticides are really biocides. They don't just kill pests, they kill life. And so when you take them into your body, you're kind of playing Russian roulette with your health, because you don't know what the long-term impact might be. But we know that many of these are endocrine disruptors. We know that some of them are linked to increased risk of cancer in humans and certainly in lab animals. And we know that farm workers who spray these poisons in the field have vastly increased risk of cancer. Life expectancy for farm workers in the state of California, according to one study, is 49 years. Many of them are dying young of cancer. If you've ever heard of the canary in the coal mine, well, you know what? It doesn't take a coal miner to realize that if something's killing farm workers, it's probably not that good for consumers who are eating it, right? So pesticides are something I'm concerned about, and Environmental Working Group publishes what they call the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. They look at the most and least pesticide contaminated foods. Every year they issue a new report. The punchline of it is that the least pesticide contaminated tend to have some kind of a shell that you don't eat, like avocados or melons, something that you cut off the outside, mangoes even, papayas even, bananas, oranges, and then the inside is somewhat more protected, right? But some pesticides nevertheless seep through. And so if you go organic, you're avoiding that. You're also avoiding the synthetic fertilizers, which NPK, nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus are the three critical components that are added to soil to make plants grow faster. But there are a lot of other nutrients that organic agriculture brings in through organic fertilizers that are also important to the mineral health and the overall vitality, all the phytonutrients that are in the food you eat. And when you eat commercially grown produce, you risk having depleted soil that's only given those big three and not all the other nutrients that it may need, which could impact the nutrient potency of the food potentially. So that's the challenge, right? And so if you go organic, at least with the Dirty Dozen, that can help. If you're concerned about pesticide contamination and you can't afford organic food, then try soaking in baking soda solution, like a gallon of water and to a tablespoon of baking soda. Let it soak for 15 minutes. That gets about 75% of the pesticides out of most foods. And then you can rinse it after that. So those are some tips. Obviously, not everyone can do it, but the more we move towards organic, the more sustainable our society will be. It's a way of restoring farmland, helping to sequester carbon, even in some cases, and saying no to all those toxins that are associated with industrialized agriculture.